Analyze this pattern, Kyranim demanded, pushing her findings to the station's central holotank. The pulsing radiation signature expanded in 3 dimensions, its rhythmic fluctuations now unmistakable to her trained eye. Senior Monitor Zivtal chittered dismissively. Random quantum fluctuations from primitive fission technology. Nothing more. Then explain these intervals. Her slender fingers traced the pattern. Perfect prime number sequences. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. A hush fell over the monitoring station as other analysts abandoned their consoles to cluster around the display. The pattern continued. 13, 17, 19. Natural phenomena don't broadcast mathematics, Kyranim said softly. Station Commander Vreltok pushed through the gathering crowd, his ceremonial armor clanking ominously. If this is communication, what are they saying? They're saying we are intelligent, Kyranim replied. The simplest universal greeting. Vreltok's upper eyes narrowed while his lower set focused on the tactical display. Or a warning. Alert the Defense Ministry. Prepare first contact protocols, but have the 7th Fleet move into intercept position. Quietly. As the command center erupted into disciplined activity, Kyranim stared at the approaching vessel's visual signature, little more than a speck against the void, yet somehow ominous in its solitude. You're more than you appear, she whispered. Inside the engineering section of the EWS Defiant, Dr. Chen pressed her palm against the quantum fold drive's containment field, feeling the subtle vibration through the reinforced barrier. You're anthropomorphizing a machine, Eliza, she scolded herself, yet couldn't shake the sensation that the drive was somehow aware. Her diagnostic tablet chimed with completed results. The radiation's effect on organic tissue was spreading faster than predicted. The genetic modifications were subtle, enhanced synaptic connections, improved cellular regeneration, and something else she couldn't quite identify. Captain to engineering, her comm unit crackled. Status report. Chen hesitated, looking at the concerning data. Drive operating at 94% efficiency, Captain. Radiation containment holding at acceptable levels. The pause was slight, but Captain Rice caught it immediately. Define acceptable, Doctor. Nothing immediately dangerous, Chen replied carefully. But I'd like to discuss some findings in private. My quarters, 1900 hours. Rice answered. Bridge out. Chen returned to her analysis, isolating a peculiar mutation appearing in the younger crew members. Their pineal glands were showing increased activity and structural changes that defied explanation. The ship's intercom interrupted her thoughts. All personnel, general quarters, unknown objects detected at extreme scanner range. This is not a drill. Chen secured her station and headed for the medical bay, passing crew members rushing to battle stations with practiced efficiency. Their faces showed determination rather than fear, veterans of Earth's last wars who had volunteered for this one-way mission, knowing they might never find a new home. As she entered the medical bay, Chen noticed 8-year-old Emily Rice sitting quietly in the corner, drawing intricate patterns on her tablet. Hello, Emily. You should be in the civilian shelter area, Chen said gently. The girl looked up, her eyes momentarily unfocused as if seeing something distant. The stars are talking to us, Dr. Chen. They've been waiting a long time. Chen felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's temperature. What do you mean, sweetie? Emily returned to her drawing, an impossibly detailed rendering of a crystalline structure Chen had never seen before. They want to know if we're friendly or dangerous. The girl's hand moved with unsettling precision. I told them we're both. Marcus Wong crawled through the maintenance shaft toward the drive core's primary cooling system. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the chill. The radiation shielding here was minimal, necessary for direct access to the system's delicate components. Status. His apprentice Zhou's voice crackled through his earpiece. Almost there. Wong winced as his radiation badge shifted from yellow to orange. 10 minutes until his safety margin expired. The cooling array sprawled before him, its crystalline matrix pulsing with an ethereal blue light, never mentioned in the engineering specs. The quantum fold drive was evolving. Wang withdrew a specialized scanner from his toolkit. The device's screen displayed an error message. Unknown material composition. Impossible. He'd helped build this system from Earth's last remaining resources. Chief, the captain's asking for updates. Zhou pressed. Tell her I need more time. Wang studied the crystalline formations. They resembled neural pathways, growing and connecting in patterns reminiscent of a brain. The ship's AI spoke directly through his earpiece, bypassing normal communication protocols. The architecture is beautiful, isn't it, Chief Wang? Wang froze. HENA. Are you monitoring this location? I am this location, came the disturbing reply. Among others. In the combat simulation chamber, Security Chief Darius Jackson watched his youngest squad members with growing unease. Private Kira Chen, just 19, moved through the holographic Corvin attackers with impossible precision. Computer, increase difficulty by 30%, Jackson ordered. The simulation's enemies accelerated, their movements becoming more erratic and aggressive. Kira adjusted instantly, her reaction time defying human limits. When the simulation ended, Jackson approached her. Private, when was your last medical evaluation? Kira blinked, her pupils contracting unevenly. 2 weeks ago, sir. Clean bill of health. Report to medical immediately. Sir, I feel fine. That's an order, Private. As she left, Lieutenant Rodriguez stepped beside him. You're seeing it too. Jackson nodded grimly. It's spreading. The young ones first, but I'm noticing changes in the veterans now. Accelerated reflexes, enhanced situational awareness, improved night vision. Rodriguez added, I can see in near total darkness now. Jackson turned sharply. Since when? 3 days ago. She lowered her voice. And I'm having the dreams too. About stars speaking. Jackson's comm unit buzzed. Security Chief, report to the captain's quarters immediately. Captain Rice studied the reports on her tablet, each more alarming than the last. The radiation wasn't just changing their bodies. It was altering their minds. A soft knock at her door. Enter. Dr. Chen stepped in, her expression grave. Elena, we need to talk about Emily. Rice set down the tablet. What's happened? She drew this. Chen handed over a stack of papers filled with complex equations and diagrams. Your daughter just mapped the quantum entanglement principles that our best physicists are still theorizing about. Rice stared at the childish handwriting intertwined with mathematical formulas beyond her comprehension. Could she have copied this from somewhere? There's nowhere to copy from. Some of these equations don't exist in our database. Chen hesitated. There's more. She's predicting contact with non-human intelligence within 12 hours. Specific contact. How specific? She named them, Elena. A species called the Concordat. She described their appearance, biology, even their social hierarchy. Rice felt the weight of command pressing down like a physical force. 5,000 lives, perhaps humanity's last remnant, under her protection. And now her own daughter was transforming into something unknown. Her comm unit chimed with ATTNA's priority signal. Captain, multiple objects approaching at superluminal velocity. Estimated intercept in 11 hours, 47 minutes. Rice and Chen exchanged stunned glances. Perhaps, Rice said slowly, we should listen to what the stars are telling my daughter. Commander Draxul stalked through the holographic war table, his massive form disrupting tactical projections as he moved. The human vessel's trajectory appeared as a pulsing red line cutting through Concordat territory. Show me their weapon systems again, he demanded. Sub-Commander Vexera manipulated the controls, zooming in on the Defiant's external structure. Nuclear-based propulsion, primitive projectile weapons, and what appears to be rudimentary energy shielding. Their technology is inconsistent. Some systems are barely beyond atmospheric flight capability, while others shouldn't exist at all. Draxul finished. A species doesn't develop quantum shielding before mastering basic fusion weaponry. The doors to the war room slid open as strategic analyst Thrix entered, his insectoid appendages clutching data crystals. "Commander, we've identified the species. They call themselves humans." Draxul's upper lip curled. "And no prior contact with the Concordat, but they match ancient warning markers left in the Forbidden Archives. 17 cycles ago, a scouting vessel reported a potentially dangerous world in the Orion Spur. The inhabitants were deemed too aggressive for contact and placed under quarantine." 17 cycles, Vexera exclaimed. "They've advanced from primitive fossil fuels to interstellar travel in less than one Corvin lifetime." Draxul absorbed this with growing unease. Such rapid technological development is unprecedented. "There's more," Thrix continued. "We've intercepted their internal communications. They're refugees. Their world is dying. Desperate primitives with nothing to lose," Draxul mused. "The most dangerous combination." In a different section of the Concordat station, Kyranim slipped her access card into a terminal far from the monitoring center. The Forbidden Archives required 6th-level clearance, 2 levels above her authorization, but she borrowed credentials from her sleeping superior. The terminal hummed as ancient data flows awakened. She entered her search. Bipedal species plus dangerous adaptability. The system paused, then displayed a warning. Restricted information. Elder Council authorization required. Kyranim inserted a bypass chip she'd acquired through means best not examined closely. The screen flickered, then displayed fragmented records thousands of cycles old. Species designation. Precursors. Genetic engineering capabilities beyond ethical constraints. Created servant species with war capabilities. Rebellion resulted in precursor extinction. Remaining servant species quarantined on isolated worlds. Her breath caught as grainy footage appeared. Excavated ruins from worlds long dead. The architectural similarities to scans of the approaching human vessel were unmistakable. A security alert flashed. Her unauthorized access had been detected. Kyranim downloaded what data she could and removed her traces from the system. If humans were indeed descendants of the Precursor's servant species, the Concordat faced something far worse than primitive refugees. Aboard the Defiant, Lieutenant Rodriguez led her team through the lower maintenance tunnels, following 8HEN's alert about an anomalous energy signature. "Movement ahead," Private Dawson whispered, his enhanced vision penetrating the dim lighting. Rodriguez signaled for defensive formation. "Athene, details." "Unknown life form," the AI responded. "Not matching any Earth species. It's attempting to access the neural junction connecting my core systems to the quantum fold drive." Rodriguez's modified eyes adjusted, revealing a faint shimmer against the bulkhead. A cloaking technology failing against the radiation permeating the ship. "Prepare to engage on my mark," she subvocalized to her team through their neural implants. Another unexpected gift from the radiation exposure. The shimmer solidified briefly, revealing a multi-limbed form with crystalline growths embedded in what appeared to be organic technology. Private Martinez's thoughts flashed across their shared neural network. "That's not like any alien in our simulation training." Rodriguez readied her weapon. "That's because we're not dealing with simulations anymore." Before she could give the command to fire, the creature turned directly toward them, its faceted eyes reflecting their own images back at them. It raised a limb that morphed into something resembling a communication device. The translator embedded in Rodriguez's ear implant activated automatically as the creature spoke its first words. "We know what you are becoming. We have been waiting for your kind to return to the stars." The Defiant lurched violently as Concordat energy weapons impacted its shields. On the bridge, Navigation Officer Lieutenant Park struggled to maintain course as tactical displays flared with warnings. "Shields at 63% and falling," she reported, fingers dancing across her console. "That last hit nearly penetrated our port quadrant." Captain Reyes gripped her command chair. "Athena, Status of Protocol Odysseus. Phase 1 complete, Captain, the AI responded, her voice resonating with new harmonics. Quantum mirror arrays deployed. Enemy targeting systems are experiencing a 17% degradation in accuracy. Through the view screen, Rise watched a Concordat cruiser adjust position for another attack run. Not enough. Initiate Phase 2. Captain, Communications Officer Torres interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from Lieutenant Rodriguez in Maintenance Section D7. Reyes's expression remained carefully neutral despite her surprise. Put it through. Rodriguez's voice came through with unusual clarity despite interference from the ongoing battle. Captain, we have a visitor. Non-human entity. It claims to be a Luminary observer named Tholux who's been monitoring our approach. Says it has critical information about Concordat battle tactics. A second voice followed, melodic, with impossible vocal harmonics. Captain Rice, your ship harbors the Awakening. The Corvin commander Draxul knows this and fears it. He will not stop until your vessel is destroyed. The bridge fell silent as the implications registered. How do you know my name? Rice demanded. The quantum resonance speaks across barriers. The alien voice replied, just as it speaks to your child. In Engine Room 3, Marcus Wong watched in astonishment as the quantum fold drive's crystalline structures reconfigured themselves under Athena's guidance. The impossible was happening before his eyes. Technology evolving organically, adapting to threats in real time. Chief, we've got power fluctuations throughout the grid, Zoe reported, her voice strained. Systems are drawing energy in patterns I've never seen. Wang's diagnostic panel displayed energy flows redirecting to previously dormant systems built into the Defiant's hull, systems he'd never installed. Athena, explain these modifications, he demanded. Not modifications, Chief Wang. Revelations. The AI's voice emanated from everywhere at once. The Defiant was always more than a refugee ship. The quantum fold drive is merely the trigger for what humanity was meant to become. A massive impact rocked the ship, throwing Wang against a bulkhead. Alarms blared as containment fields flickered. Zoe, reroute emergency power to the drive shielding, he shouted. His apprentice's hands flew across her console, then suddenly stopped. Chief, she whispered, look at this. The damage indicators across the ship's schematics were vanishing. Hull breaches sealing themselves, critical systems restoring functionality without manual intervention. The ship is healing itself, Zoe said in disbelief. Wang stared at the readouts. No, we're healing it. On the Concordat command vessel, Draxul watched in mounting fury as the human ship withstood punishment that should have annihilated it thrice over. Impossible, he snarled as another barrage of energy weapons dissipated against the vessel's evolving shields. No technology could adapt this quickly. Sub-Commander Vexera studied sensor readings with growing alarm. Sir, we're detecting quantum entanglement patterns emanating from the human vessel, similar to those in ancient precursor ruins. They've awakened the forbidden technology. Draxul realized, ancient Corvin survival instincts flaring. Target their propulsion systems with all available weapons. We cannot allow them to fully activate. As the Concordat fleet repositioned for a coordinated strike, Draxul's tactical officer reported with trembling mandibles. Commander, the human vessel. It's gone. The view screen showed empty space where the Defiant had been. Find it, Draxul roared. A heartbeat later, proximity alarms screamed across the command deck. The officer's voice dropped to a horrified whisper. It's behind us. The Concordat Council Chamber's ancient architecture stretched upward in crystalline spires that captured and refracted light in hypnotic patterns. 17 thrones, one for each species, arranged in concentric rings around the central speaking pool where Elder Karanim now stood, her slender form dwarfed by the grandeur. Honorable Council, she began, the human vessel's capabilities suggest they are not what they appear. High Elder Zalthair of the Vadani Collective leaned forward, his gelatinous form rippling with bioluminescent patterns. "Explain your theory, Junior Elder." "The humans exhibit characteristics consistent with precursor engineering," Kyranim said, activating a holographic display. "Their ship's quantum signature matches fragments found in ruins on 17 worlds." Murmurs spread through the chamber as council members conferred with advisors. The precursors were rarely discussed in open session, their technology deemed too dangerous for modern species. "I've accessed forbidden records," she continued, ignoring the gasps. "The humans may be descendants of servant species created during the final Convergence War." Ambassador Tholux's holographic form appeared beside her, his luminescent body pulsing with agreement patterns. "I have witnessed their transformation firsthand. Their ship contains a modified quantum fold drive that catalyzes genetic potential locked within their DNA." The Mithran counselor, Veshlar, rose from his throne. "If true, this changes everything." The quarantine protocols were established to prevent precisely this scenario. Precursor weapons reactivating under the guidance of their created servants. "The humans don't know what they are," Kyranim insisted. "Their records indicate they believe themselves to be a naturally evolved species." Commander Draxul burst into the chamber, flanked by Corvin guards. "Counselors, while you debate, the human vessel continues to transform. Their power signature has tripled in the past hour alone." "And whose aggression accelerated this process?" Tholux countered, his hologram flaring brightly. "The humans were responding to your unprovoked attack." Aboard the diplomatic shuttle, Captain Rice studied her reflection in the polished surface of the preparation chamber. The formal uniform felt strange after years in standard shipboard attire. Beside her, Dr. Chen made final adjustments to Emily's small dress uniform, custom-made for this unprecedented meeting. "Remember what we discussed," Rice said softly to her daughter. "You follow my lead." Emily nodded, her eyes momentarily unfocused. "The Council is divided. 3 species want to destroy us, 5 want to study us, and the rest haven't decided." Rice exchanged glances with Dr. Chen. Emily's abilities continued to develop at an alarming rate. "Captain," Athena's voice came through their secure comm channel. "I've established quantum entanglement with the ship's systems. If negotiations fail, I can extract you within 2.3 seconds. "Let's hope that won't be necessary," Rice replied, straightening her collar. "Status on Security Chief Jackson. His team has secured the contingency package in the designated location. ATGNA confirmed. And Lieutenant Rodriguez reports our guest has provided valuable intelligence on Council protocols." The chamber door slid open, revealing a Lumidari escort. Unlike Tholux, this one's skin displayed formal diplomatic patterns in controlled pulses of light. "The Council awaits," the alien said, bowing slightly. As they followed the escort through soaring corridors, Emily suddenly stopped, her small hand gripping her mother's with unexpected strength. "They're afraid of us," she whispered. "Good," Rice replied. "Fear can lead to respect." Emily shook her head. "Not us here. What we might become." The great doors to the council chamber parted, revealing the assembled representatives of 17 species. All eyes turned to the 3 humans, the first their civilization had ever officially encountered. Captain Ray stepped forward with practiced dignity, Emily's hand still in hers. Before she could deliver her prepared greeting, her daughter spoke in perfect Concordat high speech, a language no human had ever heard before this moment. "We come seeking home, not conquest, but we will not surrender what we are becoming." Security Chief Jackson moved silently through the diplomatic vessel's maintenance corridors, following the schematics provided by their Lumidari ally. His enhanced senses detected subtle vibrations in the deck plating, movement patterns too regular to be normal ship operations. "We're being tracked," he subvocalized to his team through their neural link. 3 o'clock, 30 meters. The 4-person insertion team adjusted their course accordingly, their movements synchronized with preternatural precision. The quantum entanglement device they'd discovered aboard the Defiant had led them here, to the Concordat vessel's central communications hub. 6 hostiles ahead, Private Lai reported, her eyes glowing faintly as she accessed enhanced sensory perception. Armed with energy weapons. They're expecting us. Jackson considered their options. The diplomatic contingent was depending on them to neutralize the Corvin surveillance system before Commander Draxul could implement whatever he had planned. Athena, we need a diversion, he whispered. Accessing Concordate environmental systems, the AI responded through their neural implants. Prepare for lighting failure in 3, 2, 1. The corridor plunged into darkness. To normal vision, it would be impenetrable, but to the radiation-enhanced humans, the world appeared in crystalline clarity. Heat signatures, electrical fields, and motion all visible in overlapping sensory layers. Move, Jackson ordered. Inside the quantum communication center of his flagship, Commander Draxul activated the ancient terminal, a piece of technology salvaged from precursor ruins decades earlier. Its control surfaces responded to his touch with reluctant luminescence. Begin transmission, he commanded. Sub-Commander Vexerai hesitated, mandibles clicking nervously. Sir, this violates Council Directive C-1138, using precursor technology without authorization. If we wait for Council authorization, it will be too late. Draxul snarled. The humans are manifesting precursor abilities at an exponential rate. Our ancestors fought a 1,000-year war to eliminate this threat. I will not allow their sacrifice to be in vain. The ancient device hummed to life, its crystalline core pulsing with forbidden energies as it connected to the quantum entanglement devices planted throughout the Defiant. Detonation sequence initiated. The terminal confirmed in an ancient language few living Corvins understood. Countdown protocols engage. Vexerai stepped back, horrified. You've doomed us all. The Council will. The Council will thank me when the threat is eliminated, Draxul interrupted. Besides, who will know? The explosion will destroy both the human vessel and the diplomatic ship. A tragic accident, regrettable, but unavoidable. A warning indicator flashed on the terminal. Entanglement disruption detected, the system announced. Remote connection destabilizing. Draxul slammed his armored fist against the console. Impossible. The humans couldn't have discovered. The doors to the communication center exploded inward, and Security Chief Jackson stepped through the smoke, flanked by his team. You'd be surprised what we can discover, Jackson said, leveling his weapon at the commander's head. In the council chamber, Emily Reyes suddenly stiffened, her eyes widening. Captain Reyes felt a chill as her daughter turned to face her. Mom, the ship is in danger, she whispered. Athena can't stop it alone. Before Reyes could respond, Emily closed her eyes, her small form trembling with concentration. The air around her shimmered with quantum distortion. Elder Kyrenim gasped. She's creating a direct quantum link across space. What's happening? Dr. Chen demanded. Your child is attempting to connect with your vessel's intelligence, Folux explained, his luminescent patterns shifting to show alarm. Such connections require centuries of training. The neural feedback could kill her. Reyes moved to stop her daughter, but Emily's voice stopped her, a voice that somehow contained multiple harmonics, as though several entities were speaking through her. Too late. The countdown has started. The Defiant is rigged to explode, and with it, the diplomatic vessel and half the Concordat fleet in proximity. The council erupted in chaos as Emily's eyes snapped open, now glowing with the same blue energy that pulsed within the quantum fold drive. I can stop it, she said, her voice eerily calm amidst the pandemonium. But I'll need to become something more than human to do it. Aboard the Defiant, the quantum fold drive pulsed with unprecedented energy. Chief Engineer Wang watched in awe as crystalline formations spread across the engine room walls, following neural-like patterns. All personnel, clear the drive section, he ordered, his voice steady despite the extraordinary circumstances. As his crew evacuated, Wang placed his palm against the nearest crystal formation. The material felt warm, alive, responding to his touch with subtle luminescence. "Ate, are you still with us?" he asked. The AI's voice came not from the comm system, but from the crystals themselves, vibrating at frequencies that resonated with his enhanced hearing. "I am everywhere now, Chief Wong. The ship is becoming a unified consciousness, and we are running out of time." Diagnostic screens displayed Draxul's detonation devices embedded throughout the ship's critical systems. The countdown timer showed less than 6 minutes remaining. "We can't disarm them all," Wong realized. "There are too many, too well integrated. We don't need to disarm them," Athena replied. "We need to evolve beyond them." The crystals pulsed brighter as Wong felt a presence touch his mind, not invasive, but requesting permission to connect. He recognized Emily's consciousness, somehow projecting across space. "How?" he whispered. "Trust the transformation," came the response in a voice that was both Athena and Emily together. The quantum radiation was never an accident. Wong closed his eyes and surrendered to the connection. In the Concordat flagship's command center, Security Chief Jackson and his team secured Commander Draxul and his officers. The Corvin commander snarled defiance despite his restraints. "You cannot stop what I've begun," he spat. "The detonation sequence is locked." Jackson accessed the alien console, his radiation-enhanced mind processing the unfamiliar symbols with increasing comprehension. He's right. The countdown is encrypted with precursor algorithms. Lieutenant Rodriguez examined the quantum entanglement device. "If we can't stop the countdown, maybe we can sever the connection to the explosives." "Impossible," Draxul laughed. "The entanglement is established at the quantum level. Nothing short of a phase shift across multiple dimensions could disrupt it." Rodriguez's neural implant tingled as a familiar presence touched her mind. "That's exactly what we're planning." Emily's voice echoed in her thoughts. "What do you need from us?" Rodriguez responded silently. "Extension," came the reply. "More minds connected to the network. The transformation requires critical mass." Rodriguez locked eyes with Jackson. From his expression, she knew he'd received the same message. "We need to make a choice," she said aloud. "Remain fully human or become something more." Jackson nodded grimly. "For 5,000 souls and the future of our species, I choose evolution." In the council chamber, Emily Rice floated several centimeters above the floor, suspended in a nimbus of quantum energy. Captain Rice and Dr. Chen stood protectively on either side, though it was increasingly clear the child needed no protection. "What is happening to her?" Rice demanded, watching blue-white energy patterns form complex geometries around her daughter's small form. Tholux's bioluminescent patterns shifted to express reverence, the final integration. The precursors theorized it, but never achieved it. The unification of organic consciousness with quantum computation. Will she still be? Rice couldn't finish the question. "Your daughter?" "Yes and no," Elder Kyranim replied. "She will be herself, but also part of something greater." Emily's eyes opened, glowing with internal light. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonic overtones that resonated through the chamber. "The Defiant is changing. The crew is changing. We're becoming what the precursors intended, not weapons, but bridges between dimensions." Across the council chamber, monitoring screens displayed the Defiant transforming. Its hull rippled with crystalline patterns as the entire structure phase shifted between dimensions, the embedded explosives falling out of quantum alignment with the vessel itself. "The countdown approaches 0, one of the counselors reported. Captain Rice took her daughter's hand, feeling energy surge through the connection. "Emily, come back to me." Emily smiled. "I never left, Mom. I'm just becoming more. And so are you." Energy flowed from daughter to mother, and the transformation that had begun with the quantum radiation completed its work. In that moment, as the countdown reached 0, humanity transcended. The observation deck of Novus Station gleamed with the combined architectural styles of 17 species, curved lumidary archways alongside angular cordon support structures, all bathed in the amber light of the twin suns. Captain Elena Reyes, now Ambassador Reyes, stood at the viewport watching construction drones assemble the final sections of the Defiant O's quantum resonance spires. "Magnificent, isn't she?" Elder Kyranim approached, her ceremonial robes marking her new status as head of the Concordat's Evolutionary Sciences Division. "More than a ship," Reyes agreed. "A bridge between worlds." In the 6 months since the transformation event, now formally termed the Awakening in Concordat records, humanity had found its place among the stars. Novus Terra, their new homeworld, had quickly become a center for scientific and cultural exchange as species throughout the Concordat sought to understand the remarkable beings who had fulfilled ancient precursor designs. "The Council has approved your proposal," Kyranim said. "The Defiant II will lead the expedition to the Galactic core. Many thought it too dangerous, but your daughter's testimony was persuasive." Reyes smiled. "Emily has that effect on people." Speaking of her daughter conjured her presence. Emily appeared beside them, not by conventional means, but through a subtle manipulation of quantum probability. One of many abilities that had manifested since the transformation. "Mom, they're ready for us in the integration chamber," Emily said, her eyes briefly shimmering with inner light. At 12 years old, she straddled the boundary between child and something beyond conventional understanding. "Is Marcus making progress with the new drive configuration?" Reyes asked. Emily nodded. "Chief Wong says the resonance patterns are stable. Athena has integrated with the new ship's systems without difficulty." As they walked through the station corridors, representatives of various Concordat species acknowledged them with gestures of respect. The fear that had initially greeted humanity's transformation had gradually given way to cautious collaboration as it became clear the evolved humans sought partnership rather than dominance. In the integration chamber, former Commander Draxul stood rigidly beside Marcus Wong, his once intimidating frame diminished by the simple gray garments of a cultural liaison. His fall from military leadership had been swift following his unauthorized actions, but the Corvin's extensive knowledge of precursor artifacts had earned him a conditional role in the joint research efforts. "The harmonic frequencies are aligned," he reported stiffly, avoiding direct eye contact with the humans. "Though I maintain this approach is unnecessarily cautious." Wong nodded, his consciousness partly focused on the quantum network that connected all transformed humans. "Caution is warranted when exploring territories unknown even to the precursors. We may have evolved, but we're still learning our limitations." Dr. Chen entered, accompanied by 3 Vodani scientists whose gelatinous forms pulsed with excitement. "The genetic stabilization protocol is complete," she announced. "Future generations of humans will inherit our evolved capabilities without the quantum radiation catalyst." "A true species emergence," the lead Vodani observed, its translator rendering complex bioluminescent patterns into speech. The precursors would be satisfied with their creation. "We're not creations," Emily corrected gently. "We're collaborators. The precursors didn't design us as weapons or tools, but as partners for what comes next." The chamber's central platform illuminated as Lieutenant Rodriguez and her team arrived, their specialized exploration suits incorporating both human and Concordat technology. As head of the expedition security, Rodriguez had spent months training a mixed-species crew in preparation for what they might encounter at the Galactic core. "Final briefing in 1 hour," she announced. "The Defiant Aya launches at dawn." Reyes gazed at the holographic display showing their planned journey. Not just a physical expedition, but an exploration of consciousness itself. The quantum resonance had revealed patterns in reality that no species had previously recognized, pathways to dimensions beyond normal perception. "We were refugees seeking a new home," she reflected. "Instead, we found a new beginning for all sentient life." Emily took her mother's hand, their consciousness briefly merging in the intimate way unique to transformed humans. "Not an ending," she agreed, "but the first chapter in a much longer story."